What's up, everybody? It's your boy Baybar the Go Bar coming at you with another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. Finally, sorry for the long hiatus, guys. I been really busy with personal life and and work and stuff, and so hadn't had a chance to shoot a lot of videos. And I mean, I'll be honest too, I've been kind of uninspired by Core 19 and pretty frustrated with a lot of the bugs and stuff that have been rampant throughout the game recently. Stuff like the Sphinx's Decree bug had no business being in the meta for 6 weeks or however long it was in there. So pretty unhappy about that, but on the flip side, pretty happy about Guilds of Ravnica coming out, and some really cool things, some cool planeswalkers, some great cards. I'm not going to spend time going through all of them. I'll just say this is exactly the kind of set that gets me excited. It's got a lot of cards that combo into other stuff. So most of the masterpieces are that way, with a few just absolute bombs, in my opinion, like Stitch in Time and Glimpse the Unthinkable are just excellent. Stuff like Tolsimir Wolfblood is just a really solid creature. A few of them are blanks like Plague Boiler, but a lot of them just like, I'm not sure if they'll be good or not, but they certainly will be worth trying once you get your hands on them to see if you can figure out how to make them really effective. And a lot of the mythics are the same way. I mean, Divine Visitation is a perfect example. Whenever a non-angel token creature would enter the battlefield under your control, create a vigilant angel token instead. So basically, like if you think about having a Thopter, think Teferi with TSN and Divine Visitation on the board, then basically you get a 16/16 vigilance every turn rather than a 4/4 flying dude. So I guess he is flying still. 16/16 flying vigilance angel instead. So cool combo card. I really am digging a lot of the new set mechanics. There's a few new ones. Surveil, I believe, is the biggest, most important one. The set's really opening up the graveyard. You can actually now view it, and Surveil is a way to dump a lot of cards into your graveyard. I should go ahead and mention Glimpse the Unthinkable is another way to do that. That is the masterpiece that's probably has me most drooling, because it, I don't know. It's, I don't know. Maybe it's not that good, but it seems pretty good, and it's again a way to get like Primeval Glorious Rebirth and stuff like that to perhaps be available to a deck that does not focus on green in order to dump stuff into the graveyard. But in fact, Surveil is mostly black and blue mechanics, so maybe this and maybe some of these other cards will allow that to really shine. So that being said, the other ones, Jumpstart I think is probably the weakest. It's hard to see how that's really going to work. It basically lets you cast a copy of it from your graveyard if you exile enough cards that have mana in them, and you can do it a second time if you want to. But none of them seem all that impressive. Undergrowth seems like it might be interesting, but it's kind of a win more type of mechanic. Maybe not. I mean, I guess that's not really true. Convoke is really interesting in my opinion, but it's definitely win more. Undergrowth, I'm not sure how easy it is to get a lot of creatures down, and then I'm not sure the payoff from Undergrowth is big enough. If you look at probably the strongest Undergrowth card, it's this spider, this hatchery spider, and Undergrowth 14 basically says if you have say 14 creatures in your graveyard, and then you get to pick one of the next two creatures or supports from your library, fetch it, and it gets 8 X mana, X being maxed out at 14. That doesn't seem ridiculously strong to me. So got this guy. She actually does seem pretty darn strong. So again, in a token-oriented deck, but not a bad option. Anyway, I'm gonna jump into a new Planeswalker. Actually, I'll just open this. Let's see if we can crack something good. Wouldn't that be exciting? Uh-oh. Or we could just claim product in a forever loop. I guess so many people are buying packs right now. This has been going really slow today. Ionize. That seems bad. That seems not great. No. And no. Alright, so the first deck I built is a kind of looping oriented deck, and I did it on the new Planeswalker, which is going to be the probably theme of this video. And the way the deck is structured is probably something I don't know if I'm going to play it a lot, but I think it is pretty effective, and it's a new way of kind of mimicking the interaction of Imminent Doom. But yeah, I bought the new Planeswalker because he seems really, really fun. His name is Rile. Is it Viceroy? And his skills all feel pretty good so far. Pick one of the top 4 cards from your library, fetch that card, and give it 6 mana, then destroy the others. So a good way to both fill your graveyard up and also dig for something. And basically, you know, 6 loyalty for 6 mana on a draw 4 card is pretty strong. Rechargeable blast, deal damage to target creature equal to the number of spells in your graveyard times 3. Then the first spell in your hand gains that amount of mana. So again, if you're dumping spells and you can, you know, draw and get mana in your hand, it seems like a pretty interesting one. And then his ult is actually what we're going to try and feature today. Basically, when you cast a spell, the support deals 2 damage to any target, then draw 2 cards. So his mana bonuses are interesting at net 8, but big gains like Samet, for instance, in blue and red, even though she's, of course, in red and green, and then a negative in green, where hers is negative in black. So let's look at our loop-de-doop deck that I've put together. And the key cards are Goblin Electromancer. While this creature's on the battlefield, your spells cost 2 less to cast. And then, of course, I'll go ahead and take it to the bottom corner, the Immortal Sun. You can't do loyalty, so you have to ult first, but your spells cost 2 less to cast, and your creatures get +1/+1. Draw an extra card at the beginning of your turn. But the idea is combining Electromancer with the Immortal Sun will actually allow us to cast any spell for 4 or less for free, which historically you could do Immortal Sun and cast 2 or less, but that wasn't a very good option in Legacy. They did screw up. I don't know if it's screwed up or not, but like you can't, there's a couple of interesting cards that you're going to be like, why aren't you using that? Like for instance, a draw 2 for 4. There's actually 2 of those. And the problem that I noticed immediately is you actually can't cast one if your hand is full. I think the idea is they don't want to go past the hand limit, so they're somehow capping it, but I should be able to cast 1 card to draw a 2nd card. Don't know why that's not the case, but I've had to modify this, and you'll see some probably suboptimal options in here. It would easily loop people to death if you could use the draw cards rather than like stuff like Brass's Bounty, which is really not something that I want to be running in here, but is kind of the cleanest dirty shirt, so to speak. So let's see if we can give you a so obviously the goal here, oh, we're playing a Benji, so I can ask him if we can actually post this on the forums. But he used to be a Dedapult guildmate of mine many moons ago, and he's a great guy. Anyway, so maybe he'll tear me up with his Kuyar deck, because this thing has no defense. I really have to rely on getting to my ultimate quickly and going ahead and finishing him off that way. So that is our plan. Alright, so the sooner we can get this guy out, the better, of course. And I really, really, really want loyalty right now, so I think I'm going to focus on that above mana. There's not a whole lot of good options I have here. Any deck like this is a little restrictive because you're kind of forced to just play stuff that you can actually, you know, cast. Let's see here. I don't see much good. Maybe the red down into either a white or a loyalty that it's actually suggesting for me might be the right play. I don't see anything else that's singing to me, so let's hope to get lucky and not get lucky. There's a couple other fun decks I do intend on playing at some point. Luftbitter. Yeah, I don't think I got that right, but he said he'd pay me to try and say his name on these videos, because apparently I can't pronunciate shit. But he's recommended a pretty interesting Karn deck that I plan on showing at some time. But I was just excited to try out some of the new Planeswalkers and the new cards, so we'll get to that eventually, hopefully. I don't know why I'm holding that necessarily, but just again trying to work towards my loyalty and hope he doesn't drop anything massive on me in the interim. I think I'll just throw that away. Again, we can't cast till we get to our 18 mana. And I'm not really seeing any loyalty matches, so I'll just keep plugging away. I might as well draw a card. Might be a bad idea. He puts out a blocker or something, I don't really know. Get these, might as well get our brasses bounties down. Again, this is a pretty slow game. Last time it happened pretty quickly that I got to my 18 loyalty, but not so much here. I think I'll see if I can keep getting some love into this. This is like plenty of mana, which I don't really need. He has not put anything at all remotely threatening down so far. I think I'll just go with the pure loyalty match here. There's a little something something. And now we're gonna, hopefully within the next turn or two, go ahead and be able to deploy our ultimate. Here's a Surveil, so I'll show you what this does. Yeah, we need 4 more loyalty. Gonna have to hope to get lucky. We got lucky. All right, so we're basically, remember what you're doing is you're trying to say which things do you want on the bottom of your deck. So we're gonna put Rile and Brass's Bounty down there. There's actually some cool cards that aren't in this deck that do have some good Surveil synergies. But I don't know, there's this kind of mechanical dragon thing that's kind of interesting. And then there's there's what is that? We call it it's like beacon spell, and it basically does the amount of spells you have in your hand and damage. But let's see how deep into the loop we can go here. Benji's is being very pleasant and just not doing anything while I beat him down a little bit. So there you go. Whenever you cast a spell, this support deals 6 damage to any target, then draw 2 cards. So Surveils help us kind of thin out our deck. I wish I could find more to put in here. I don't know if I haven't looked to see if they're out there or not, but you know, obviously this could get plugged up if we get into a situation where, you know, we just have a lot of these goblins or the Immortal Suns. All right, but I have found that once it gets going, it is pretty much gonna just knock them out. So we'll put that in our graveyard, and we don't really need Rile, so those will be the 2 we throw away, which again thins out the deck. Otherwise that goblin would come into my hand and I really have no way of filling him with mana. So you see the strategy, kind of slow, kind of clunky, not my style. I kind of like things that, like, once you get going, it just either is automatic or goes a little more quickly. I wish I didn't have, I mean, I guess I like that I have to click on him, because if he did have a board of creatures that I needed to deal with, it'd be nice to do that, but I have to click on him every time. Is a little bit clunky. But you see, I've really had 0 problem looping this so far. There's 1 block to my loop. But need basically a handful of those before it's really going to cause me a problem. I'm not sure how big of a boss this could kill. There's another problem. So I don't really know. I guess we'll do those 2. We got about 4 more before he's dead. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And there's 4. There you go. So that's the deck. I think there's some other ways you can do similar. I think the Goblin Electrolyze plus the Immortal Sun is probably a pretty strong enabler in a lot of different decks. So I'd be happy to hear what other kind of interesting combos you have. Please nothing where it gets 1/1 every time I cast a spell, because I'll shoot myself before I finish the game. But 6 damage per is not too shabby. So anyway, looking forward to working with you guys and hearing your ideas and enjoying the new set. So thanks for listening, and give me a shout out with any ideas that you might have. All right, see ya.